Once upon a time, when the cock crowed at dawn and dew still kissed the grass, there was a quiet village tucked beneath the hills of the east. This village, called Enzu, was small, so small that everyone knew everyone's story, or so they thought. In this village lived a young woman named Mira. She was not born into wealth, nor did she inherit lands or gold. But Mira was known by all for her gentle spirit and graceful strength. She lived at the edge of the village, in a small, crumbling clay house, surrounded by wild hibiscus. No husband, no siblings, no parents. Just her and the silent memories of a life that had been filled with both beauty and sorrow. Her father, a renowned hunter, had disappeared in the forest when she was just a child. Her mother died during childbirth. Mira had raised herself since she was 8, surviving off the land, gathering firewood, farming small yam mounds, and tending to a few goats. Despite her hard life, Mira never begged, never complained. She carried herself with quiet dignity. She was the kind of woman who would give her last coin to a hungry child, and yet sleep hungry herself with a prayer on her lips. The villagers respected her. But one morning, everything changed. It was just after sunrise. A boy, named Tachukwu, barely 10 years old, was chasing after a stubborn chicken when he stumbled upon a sight that made him freeze in place. There, by the roadside on her knees, was Mira. But she wasn't weeding or praying. She was eating grass. Yes, grass. Long, green blades. The kind goats munch on. Mira was chewing slowly, tears falling down her cheeks, her eyes distant, as if she were somewhere else entirely. The boy screamed and ran. By midday, the story had spread like wildfire. Did you hear? That Mira girl has gone mad. She was eating grass with tears in her eyes. A woman eating what animals eat, abomination. Maybe she has been cursed. By evening, the gossip had reached every corner of the village. Mothers warned their children not to go near her. Some said she had gone mad from poverty. Others whispered of witchcraft. Some even blamed her for never marrying, saying it was loneliness that finally broke her. But none of them, not one, asked her why. For 7 days, Mira returned to that same roadside. Every morning, kneeling, eating grass. In silence, she ignored the stares, the whispers, the children mocking her from behind trees. She ignored the women at the stream who laughed and shook their heads. Only one person had the courage to act. Her name was Mama DJ, an old widow with crooked legs, a sharp tongue, and a soft heart. She had once known Mira's mother, back when the two of them had danced together at village festivals. Mama DJ could no longer bear to watch the disgrace. One early morning, on the 8th day, she carried a steaming bowl of yam porridge in one hand and a bottle of palm oil in the other. She walked to where Mira knelt beside the road, chewing quietly, her tears mixing with dirt. "Mira, my child," she said, voice trembling, "why are you eating grass? Tell me. Let me understand." Mira paused. She looked up. Her lips were green, and her hands trembled. But her eyes, they were steady. "Mama," she said quietly, "I made a vow, and now I must fulfill it." Mira's voice cracked as she continued. 3 moons ago, my best friend, Ada Ora, was bitten by a snake. She collapsed on my doorstep, trembling, begging for help. I screamed for the neighbors. I knocked on every door. I ran to the herbalist's house, but no one came. People looked from windows. Some turned away. The herbalist said he was tired that night had already come, that I should wait till morning. I held Adaora in my arms as she cried, and in her final breath she whispered, "Mira, don't let me die like grass." She died minutes later. I buried her myself under the Iroko tree. That night, I knelt before the gods, and I said, "If a human being can die like grass, and no one cares, then let me eat grass, like one, until someone asks me why. Mira looked away. Today, Mama, you asked. Mama DJ sat in stunned silence. Shame filled her bones. She had heard the cries that night too. She had stayed inside, like the others. She dropped the bowl of yam and fell to her knees, weeping. Forgive us, Mira. Forgive us. We failed you. We failed her. By midday, the story had spread again, but this time with truth. People began to arrive at Mira's house, not to mock, but to apologize. They brought food, money, clothes. Some knelt, some cried. The chief himself came with his elders. He bowed his head and said, "You showed us something no sermon has ever taught us. That silence in the face of suffering is betrayal. We wear fine clothes and claim to be civilized, but we let your friend die like grass. Today, we repent." Mira forgave them all. Her heart had always been soft. From that day on, Inzu changed. A new rule was made. No cries at night shall go unanswered. No sick person shall be turned away. No one dies in silence again. The herbalist built an emergency hut near the square. The chief opened a fund for emergencies. And every year, on the day of Adaora's death, the village held a compassion festival where no one could eat until they fed someone else. Mira became the village healer. She never married, but she was never alone. Children followed her like her own, and the villagers sought her wisdom daily. When she died at the age of 84, they buried her beside Adadora under the same iroko tree, and carved into the wood above their graves were the words, "She ate grass, but we were the ones who were wild." Have you ever seen someone suffering and turned away because it wasn't your problem? Every action has weight. Sometimes the worst evil is not hatred, it's indifference. When you ignore someone's pain, you become part of the reason they suffer. Never wait for tragedy before showing compassion. You don't need riches to be powerful. You don't need a title to bring change. And sometimes, the ones we laugh at are the ones carrying our deepest lessons. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs to be reminded. We rise by lifting others.